Enrique is a rare example of a background character becoming the focus of not one but two episodes, and he pretty much had a complete character retcon. Hey folks, welcome to Squirrel Tactics. If you like what we're doing here, give us a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. Also, if you like history, check out our sister channel, Squirrel History. Anywho, Enrique, last name unknown, but I'm willing to bet it's either Mexican or Spanish. A co-worker of Hank's at Strickland Propane, where he's a driver, and in the earlier seasons, he was a much quieter guy, only having the occasional interactions with Hank like this from Keeping Up with Our Joneses.
And times got hard after NAFTA sent the piñata jobs north.
That's quite a story, Enrique. I like stories. I like stories about piñatas.
Notice that voice sounded kind of strange to some of y'all? Yeah, that's his original voice actor, Eloy Casados, who was replaced with Danny Trejo, and yes, Danny Trejo is the inspiration for the character Octavio. Also, can we take a second to notice just how un-Hank-Hill this scene is? I mean, he's sitting on a propane tank smoking a cigarette talking about piñatas. Plus, there's this.
Huh? Oh, Dios mío. Ooh.
Pretty much until the 9th season, Enrique was in the background at Strickland. He gained the nickname Enrique, and that's what she said, and he was the first person that Hank approached about not liking the new guy's more edgier jokes.
I hate it. I hate it. I don't want to come to work. I have nightmares. I can't even eat a hot dog anymore.
But he refused to help Hank sue for sexual harassment. We do learn that Enrique likes Olive Garden, though.
Thanks for the coupon to the Olive Garden, Hank. The tour of Italy was delicious.
He does yoga with Hank and Joe Jack in Hank's back. Then we get to Inreconcilable Differences, the first Enrique-centric episode. It starts off with Enrique showing up to work early, even before Hank, and then proceeding to talk to Hank more than he had since that first season scene. He also kept steering the conversation to non-work matters, much to Hank's discomfort. When Hank mentioned that he was replacing his driveway, Enrique invited himself.
Guys, you remember Enrique from Strickland?
Is this some kind of bring a coworker to home day?
Showing up and helping out the guys. He sticks around afterward, and Hank tells him that there's no room for a promotion at work, which is what Hank thinks is why Enrique has taken such a liking to him lately. However, no, it's because he's having marital problems and begins to inform Hank of these.
Hank, my marriage is falling apart. I'm so unhappy. I don't know what to do. You're the only one in the world I can turn to.
Okay then, I'll see you at work.
And after some prodding from Peggy, Hank goes outside and listens to Enrique's problems, while also jangling keys, telling him that he needs to discuss his issues with his wife or someone closer to him that he trusts. However,
impossible. I am a Mexican-American, and in my community it would be a disgrace to speak of my marriage problems.
Mexicans don't talk about their feelings? That's great. So, why'd you give that up?
And then, with Peggy's insistence, Enrique ends up watching Everybody Loves Raymond with the Hills.
That's funny, This is a good time.
Yeah, that laugh is kind of annoying. The next day at work, Enrique tells their co-workers about Hank's home life, which irritates Hank and Buck Strickland.
Yeah. Dang it, Hank, this is the busiest day of the month, and you're bragging about your lovemaking with your wife? Now get back to work!
And when Hank gets home from work, there's Enrique playing Monopoly.
Hey, it would take forever to iron my shirt with this. See what I'm saying?
Enrique then gives the family gifts: a stuffed animal, beef jerky, driveway sealant, and the box set of Rocky. And by the way, you may have noticed one of those would have cost significantly more than the others. Hank drives Enrique home, which makes me wonder how he got to the Hill House in the first place, let alone before Hank got there. And along the way, they discuss Enrique's marital issues.
I tell her she's pretty all the time, but she never tells me I'm handsome. Do you think I'm handsome, Hank? I don't know. Maybe it's because when I married Yolanda, I was a virgin, and she wasn't.
And yet again, Hank tells Enrique that he needs to discuss this with his wife, but when Hank drops him off, he and his wife Yolanda start to argue. Later on, I'm guessing that same day, Enrique is thrown out of a van onto Hank's new driveway by Yolanda's brother and some of his friends, with Enrique expecting to simply move in. Instead, the next day, Hank takes Enrique to the Dearborn, an apartment complex known for their high percentage of divorced men.
Welcome to the Dearborn. This is where husbands who can't work out their marital problems come to live.
And also home of Weekend Warrior Fridays with all the margaritas you can drink. Never had a martini? Doesn't sound that good. Hank's thinking was that the near pathetic state of the Dearborn and its residents would be enough to force Enrique to work things out with his wife.
Hey, you like to party? Oh yeah, who doesn't? Yeah, we gotta party together.
But after Hank leaves him there, that night Enrique tries one more time to crash at the hills.
Uncle Hank, are we going to be murdered?
But to no avail, and at the end of the episode, he is being dropped off at work by his wife, the two having apparently made up, and Hank and Enrique's relationship returned to normal.
Oh, how'd it go with Enrique and Yolanda? Are they going to therapy? Do you think they're truly reconciled, or do you think she'll kick him out again?
Peggy, I have no idea.
And you gotta believe in moderation, Enrique plays softball for the Zephyrs, and is the only one to voice his unease with Hank's plan to play to win against the Ace of Diamonds and his jewels.
But Hank, aren't we supposed to just let him beat us? That's the fun of it, right? All the pranks and all the tricks the ace does.
Though a pep talk from Hank changes his mind.
Believe to the team! Yeah! I believe, Hank! We'll win because our Lord Jesus Christ chose us to win!
Okay, Enrique.
Yeah, that scene is great, not just for itself, but also because it leads to this one.
Wait, I know who could send us a twister! And with the help of our... Oh, what's the point?
Which then leads us to the other Enrique episode, Lady and Gentrification, where Enrique's daughter Inez asks Hank to make a speech at her quinceañera, which, according to Dale...
Do you know what goes on at those things? I do. They sacrifice the oldest woman in the room to make room for the new younger woman.
While Hank was trying to get to know Inez, Peggy was flipping as much of Little Mexico as possible to local hipsters.
People you are referring to are hipsters. They walk slowly because they got no place to be, man.
Oh, Dale, you gotta love him. Who then began to change the neighborhood apparently for the worse.
Hank, it's salmon! They put salmon in the fish tacos, Hank!
Yep, salmon in the fish tacos. We find out in this episode that Enrique had lived in his house for 20 years and is still a renter.
I can't believe that Enrique doesn't own his own house. He's lived there for over 20 years. Who rents a house for 20 years? I'm pretty sure Inez's room is an addition.
Mostly due to his constant overspending, hence the gifts he gave the Hills in Inreconcilable Differences.
You mean you spend all your money on parties?
And funerals!
Also, he had mentioned in that first season scene earlier that his family was still in Mexico, but they've been in the house for 20 years at this point, so I'm guessing that it's just another retcon. The hipsters moving in increases property values and leads to Enrique's landlord raising their rent, which he announces at the quinceañera.
I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know where Inez will be a woman. I don't want to move. I'm scared, Hank!
Being a bit of a downer.
Hank, I'll be videotaping your speech. And the sacrifice.
But luckily everything works out in the end when the guys start acting like they live in the neighborhood and slowly but surely push the hipsters out, which allows Enrique to finally purchase his home and hopefully learning a little bit about budgeting.
Maybe just some donkey rides for the kids.
Okay, maybe not. He had a few more background appearances, but not really any more character development. So, Enrique went from a normal background co-worker to a semi-main character in a few episodes, and completely changed personalities and voices in the process. And yeah, that laugh. Dear God, that laugh. Ugh.
Hey, I'm psyched, man. Now we finally have a chance to talk. I mean, really talk about our hopes and our fears. Who wants to go first?